Om Namo Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Padaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Namaste Saraswati Gauravan Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. We can continue with mantras 6, 7, and 8 in the same section. In the two previous mantras, it is explained, although the Lord is all-pervading, that he has his expansions and is all-pervading at the same time. We have heard in the previous verses, this is looks like an apparent contradiction, a paradox. Is walking, is not walking, is far away and is close by. But so that is maybe with logic, that's a problem. That seems to be illogical, but we have explained it sounds logical. That but the Lord is. These are two aspects. So you have to write an essay. They showed me the title or something. That this is evidence from the Isopanisad. The Lord is far away and close by in the dative form to receive our service, and is everything is pastimes in Poloka Vrindavan. But now Krishna is all pervading. This verse mantra 6, will explain the vision of one who sees Krishna everywhere. And that is the vision of a Mahabharata. That the Uttam Adhika. We will hear today about 3 classes of devotees, Kanishta, Madhyam, and Uttam Adhikar. We have heard about this already in Nectar of Instruction, text 5, right? But here we will hear about it in a different way. And then mantra 7 will describe the consciousness of a Mahabharata. One who sees Krishna everywhere. Well, this is consciousness. That yes. And then the mantra 8 describes the qualities of the Lord. And that's important for your essay, mantra 8. It contains, it's in the purport, Srila Prabhupada describes every Sanskrit word, which describes the quality, constant quality of the Lord. And that is evidence from the scripture. That we will start with reading mantra 6 and the purport. Yastu Sarvamam Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Vasudevaya.
Astu Sarvani Bhutani
Sarvani Bhutani
Atmani Vana Pashyati
Atmani Pashyati
Sarvabhutesu Satmanam
Sarvabhutesu Satmanam
Tatana Vichurupsate
Tatmana Vishupsate
Ya He who
He
two
who
but Sarvani
Sarvani
all Bhutani,
Bhutani,
living entities,
living entities,
Atmani,
Atmani,
in relation to the Supreme Lord, Eva, only, Anupashati, observes in a systematic way,
conserves the systematic way.
Sarvabhutesu, in every living being, Sha, and Atman, super soul, Tataha, thereafter, Na, not, Vichurupsate, hates anyone. Translation and purport by A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki. He who sees systematically everything in relation to the Supreme Lord, who sees all living entities as his part and parcels, and who sees the Supreme Lord within everything, never hates anything or any being. Someone can read the first paragraph of the purport.
This is a description of the Mahabhagavat, the great personality who sees everything in relation to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The Supreme Lord's presence is realized in 3 stages. The Kanishta Adhikari is in the lowest state of realization. He goes to a place of worship, such as a temple, church, or mosque, according to his religious faith, and worships there according to scriptural injunctions. Devotees in this stage consider the Lord to be present at the place of worship and nowhere else. They cannot ascertain who is in what position in devotional service, nor can they tell who has realized the Supreme Lord. Such devotees follow the routine formulas and sometimes quarrel among themselves, considering one type of devotion better than another. These Kanishta Adhikaris are actually materialistic devotees who are simply trying to transcend the material boundary to reach the spiritual plane.
Thank you. Next paragraph.
Those who have attained the second stage of realization are called Madhyama Adhikari. These devotees observe the distinction between the 4 categories of being: one, the Supreme Lord, the devotees of the Lord, the innocent who have no knowledge of the Lord, and 4 created who have no faith in the Lord and hate those in devotional service. The Madhyama Adhikari behaves differently toward these 4 classes of persons. He adores the Lord, considering him the object of love. He makes friends with those who are in devotional service. He tries to awaken the dormant love of God in the heart of the innocent, and he avoids the atheists who deride the very name of the Lord. Above the Madhyama Adhikari is the Uttama Adhikari, who sees everything in relation to the Supreme Lord. Such a devotee does not discriminate between an atheist and a theist, but sees everyone as part and parcel of God. He knows that there is no essential difference between a vastly learned Brahmana and a dog in the street, because both of them are part and parcel of the Lord, although they are encaged in different bodies on account of the different qualities of the activities in their previous lives. He sees that the Brahmana particle of the Supreme Lord has not misused his little independence given him by the Lord, and that the dog particle has misused his independence, and is therefore being punished by the law of nature by being encaged in the form of a dog. Not considering the respective actions of the Brahmana and dog, the Uttama Adhikari tries to be good to both. Such a learned devotee is not misled by material bodies, but is attracted by the spiritual spark within them. Those who imitate an Uttama Adhikari by flaunting a sense of oneness or fellowship, or who behave on a bodily platform, are actually false philanthropists. The conception of universal brotherhood must be learned from an Uttama Adhikari and not from a foolish person who does not properly understand the individual soul or the Supreme Lord Super Soul expansion who dwells everywhere.
Someone else?
It
Is clearly mentioned in this sixth mantra that one should observe or systematically see. This means that one must follow previous acharyas, the perfected teachers. Anupashyanti is the exact Sanskrit word used in this connection. Anu means to follow and Pashyanti means to observe. Thus the word Anupashyanti means that one should not see things as it does with the naked eye, but should follow the previous acharyas. Due to material defects, the naked eye cannot see anything properly. One cannot see properly unless one has heard from the superior source, and the highest source is the Vedic wisdom, which is spoken by the Lord himself. The Vedic truths are coming in the cyclic succession, from the Lord to Brahma, from Brahma to Narada, from Narada to Vyasa, and from Vyasa to his many disciples. Formerly, there was no need to record the messages of the Vedas, because people in earlier ages were more intelligent and had sharper memories. They could follow the instructions simply by hearing once from the mouth of the bona spiritual master. At present, there are many commentaries in the revealed scriptures, but most of them are not in the line of this cyclic succession, coming from Srila Vyasadeva, who originally compiles the Vedic wisdom. The final, most perfect and sublime work by Srila Vyasadeva is Srimad Bhagavatam, which is the natural commentary on the Vedanta Sutra. There is also the Bhagavad Gita, which was spoken by the Lord himself and recovered by Vyasadeva. These are the most important revealed scriptures, and any commentary that contradicts the principles of the Bhagavad Gita or Srimad Bhagavatam is unauthorized. There is complete agreement among the Upanishads, Vedanta Sutra, Vedas, Bhagavad Gita, and Srimad Bhagavatam. I don't want to try to reach any conclusion about the Vedas without receiving instructions from members of the Vyasadeva's cyclic succession, who believe in the personality of Godhead and his diverse energies as they are explained in Sri Isopanisad. According to the Bhagavad Gita 1854, only one who is already on the liberated platform, Brahma Bhuta, can become an Uttama Adhikari devotee and see every living being as his own brother. This vision cannot be had by politicians who are always after some material gain. One who imitates the symptoms of an Uttama Adhikari may serve another's outward body for the purpose of fame or material reward, but he does not serve the spiritual soul. Such an imitator can have no information of the spiritual world. The Uttama Adhikari sees the spirit soul within the material body and serves it as spirit. Thus, the material aspect is automatically served.
Mainly in the purport, Srila Prabhupada speaks about 3 levels of devotees. Why does he speak about 3 levels of devotees here? Because this mantra 6 gives the vision of an Uttam Adhikar. But that is a gradual development. So one must first come from the Kanishta to the Madhyam to the Uttam platform. And Srila Prabhupada transliterates and comments on 3 verses of the 11th canto of the Bhagavatam. That this is spoken by Hari. Yeah. what is his name? King Havi, that's his name. One of the 9 Yogendras. Those are 9 Yogendras, pure devotees, mystic, and they visit King Nimi. And King Nimi is very pleased with the visit of these 9 Yogendras, and of each Yogendra, love is, these are all that brahmacharis. He asks each Yogendra one question. Not half Yogendra is asking a question: what are the different levels of devotees? What are their characteristics? And so half Yogendra answers in 3 verses to King Nimi. And Prabhupada transliterates this. But there's a lot to say about that. And we may hear that, but the deeper understanding comes only when we understand these characteristics in depth. That because there is to understand us, we must know that the process of devotion, of devotional service, is a process with stages. That 9 stages. Shraddha, first faith. That when one has faith, then one associates with devotees, sadhu sangha, and learns from him the process of devotional service. Learns the process also from the spiritual master, gets initiation, and then we practice devotional service. This bhajana kriya, we learn how to practice, but in the beginning we are not steady. We don't chant 16 rounds from the first day, and this following of the 4 related principles is sometimes a struggle and so on. So that is bhajana kriya, but it's called anishtita, unsteady bhajana kriya, the unsteady practice of devotional service. But then at a certain time, after a few years, we are steady. Then you come to nishtita bhajana kriya. But still, one is studying one's devotional service, and still one's heart is not purified, only a bit, because one makes still offenses. So you can be studying devotional service, but not become purified because of the offenses in the heart. When then the offenses start to go, then one's heart becomes purified. That is anartha nivritti. And then after 30, 40, 50 years, the heart is purified. One becomes a madhyamadikar. At that moment, there are 2 different things here. Acting as a madhyamadikar and being a madhyamadikar are completely different things. You can act as a madhyamadikar, and a preacher is acting as a madhyamadikar, and therefore is a good candidate to become soon a madhyamadikar. But when you are on a madhyam platform, then you are liberated. You don't feel pain anymore. You identify with the body. You don't identify with the body, but as a spirit soul. No, that is Brahmabhuta. Brahmabhuta Prashnatna Shusti Nakangstu Samsavesha Bhusyamat Bhaktim Navati. No lamentation, no hankering for anything in this world. One is always peaceful. So that's a very high stage, the Madhyamadikar. I don't know if there are many Madhyamadikars in our movement. I'm doubtful to it. We are mostly all Kanishtabdikar. But Prahlad Maharaj gave a seminar 20 years ago about this from Schade to Prema. And he said openly, I'm a Kanishthadikar. But you must know there's a difference between a new Bhakta and one who is nearly liberated. There's a big difference. It's a big spectrum, Kanishthadikar. You must understand this point. And that's this is a misunderstanding I find again and again and again in our movement. They don't understand Osmatyamadikar, but what the level means. It's liberated. Srila Prabhupada said that we should try to become in this life at least a Madhyam Adhikar. Because when we become a Madhyam Adhikar, you don't take birth anymore. You are out of the cycle of birth and death. You are liberated. Yes.
I have two questions. The first is, I was wondering a little bit also myself, I mean, we have it from authorities, from scriptures, the statements, Kanishka, Madhyam, Uttama. But I was also sometimes wondering about what you said. Actually, yes, maybe Kanishka or Madhyam, but it's difference also in the beginning of it and then maybe on the end or the middle. It's like a huge short report. I was wondering a little bit about it. And the second question is like, but this was the last part, what you told.
Yeah, I didn't get your first question.
Actually, I was wondering, maybe you was explaining now, but I was also wondering why the scriptures are. I mean, it's like a very short work. It's not very detailed. But we don't have me a little detail knowledge why you explain, because there are many misunderstandings then maybe, and also for ourselves and by others. And maybe I don't know if you have maybe some more detail, but maybe you said you had some how to say, like seminars or whatever.
Yeah,
because it's very interesting topics.
An issue I was scheduled to give a seminar on Pranam Chintamani and Madhurya Kalambini. There, all these things are explained there. Unfortunately, there's not much interest into it. No students are involved. But this is helpful.
So much is not doing it, or?
Yeah, Srila Vishwanath Bhakti Thakur explains all this in Madhurya Kalambini. And also in Arinam Chintamani, the same things are explained with other terms, but it's just the same. Okay.
So you don't feel anything?
No.
What it means?
That they identify with the eternal body and not with the mind and the senses. Our pain is experienced, pain and pleasure is experienced in the mind. The soul cannot feel pain. The soul identifies with the mind and feels the pain that comes into the mind, and we think it's ours. That connection is broken when you are liberated. You don't identify with the mind. Please?
They feel the pain of the others, I mean,
They are compassionate, yes. Because they are not suffering anymore. They want others not to suffer anymore. Yeah.
You said it takes 40 years for this another degree, if I understood it right. What chance do we have devotees who can relate to Krishna consciousness and most probably not so much lifespan anymore? Is there a chance of going back to God with this lifetime?
Don't worry about it. What is a few lifetimes? Krishna guides you from lifetime to lifetime. Keep up that attachment to get liberation in this life. Become attached to serve Krishna. Krishna will take care of everything. That's what Lord Chaitanya says. Nadanam najanma sundram kaptabashri sukami. Mama chami mama mishvarim. Yeah, high to pitch for him. He does not want liberation, he said, Lord Chaitanya.
Our spiritual master, so this Kalamatana Lord said, we should pray, please, my dear Lord, let me somehow or other go back to Godhead this lifetime. And for us, it's now our spiritual master. We
Yeah.
do that for us.
Please, pray like this and try. We should try to go back to Godhead in this life and pray for it. But when it doesn't happen, faith in Krishna.
And the main point which he had is that I don't have attachment to this, that I not become attached to this.
Because Krishna may decide, oh, that's a very nice devotee, very nice service. I need that devotee for some time in the material world to do some other service. And for the devotee, he's a servant of Krishna. Whatever my Lord wants, is fine. But that's pure devotional service. Give up your attachment for liberation. Become attached to devotional service. If you become attached to devotional service, that's higher than liberation. That it's going, try to understand that we have to come to the platform of Madhyamadhikas before we can go back to God. And you can be liberated even within this body. That's the point. That a devotee does not pray for liberation. A devotee prays for the service of the Lord. That, of course, we want to do service in Goloka Vrindavan. But that's pure devotion service. Otherwise, your devotion service is not pure. Then you can't go back to the spiritual world because it's not pure.
Okay, so even though pure devotion service, even if I desire to go back to Godhead, it's not pure because I have
well, you can desiring to go back to Godhead is become a servant of the Lord. Whether that is in the material or the spiritual world, it doesn't matter because you are liberated. But Srila Prabhupada was in that category. He was liberated from birth. And one reporter asked to Srila Prabhupada, can you tell us at what age did you become Krishna conscious? And Srila Prabhupada replied, I cannot remember any moment that I was not Krishna conscious. And that is. So then it's accepting whatever Krishna gives you. That it's high level. That's the Uttamadhika.
Thank you.
You had also. No. Okay. Good. Yeah.
Yes, I remember the question again. You mentioned that the points after I was asking that somebody who is a Madhyamadikarya, he can liberate it. He's actually then what was the point you told us? That he become liberated. But actually it means not that he can go to back to God's.
He's liberated.
He's liberated.
Yeah. Liberated. Normally one does not take birth again. That
what means this, Maharaj? Like when you not go Karindava, it's more liberated, but you don't take birth again, how we can understand this a bit? Because you don't.
It means you are not controlled and involved by the material nature and forced to take birth again in this material.
But actually normally he takes birth, huh? But actually he takes birth again to develop birth.
It depends on Krishna, but once you are liberated, the steps to Ruchi, that's already there from the beginning. Shakti comes very close, and quickly you are at love of Godhead. That the stages before liberation go very slow, but afterwards it's going quick. but it's up to Krishna what he does with you in that situation. But very individual. That because when you are at a Madhyam platform, you are liberated more, but you are not completely pure. Some residues are there. A slight identification with the body is still there. Because there are 4 types of anarthas. And when you are liberated, practice all the anarthas coming from previous pious and impious activities are eradicated. But not anarthas of offenses. And that takes longer. But technically you are liberated. But mostly, like I said, after liberation, you make quite quick progress. See Sukadev Goswami. He heard the Bhagavatam. How long took it before he was a pure devotee? Not long. Prabhupada said become a Madhyamadikara. But first we have to understand what's a Kanishta, what's a Madhyamadikara. We are discussing something without looking at the characteristics. That's what I want to do now. So we have here, we are in verse 6, 7. First, develop spiritual vision by seeing worldly things, events and people with equanimity, and then that develops further and directed to Ishvara, helps us to understand him. Yeah, that we will look at this now. So this is the purpose of Prabhupada, that Kanishta-adhikar, Madhyamadhikar, Uttamadhikar we heard. One is false versus real. That's the last paragraphs. So here you have the first verse from Havir. Shihavir vacha sarva bhutesya pashat bhagavat bhavamatmana bhutani bhagavanatmani esa bhagavatottama. Shihavir said to King Nimi, the most advanced devotees sees within everything the soul of all souls, the Supreme Personality of God, that's Sri Krishna. Consequently, he sees everything in relation to the Supreme Lord and understands that everything that exists is eternally situated within the Lord. So the Uttamadhikara sees only Krishna everywhere, and he sees everyone as a devotee of Krishna. Everyone. And he thinks everyone is a better devotee than me. That is the Uttamadhikara. So the Uttamadhikara cannot act as a spiritual master because he cannot discriminate. That he must come down to the Madhyam platform to teach. We always say Prabhupada is an Uttamadhikara who came to act on the Madhyam platform. That is seeing Krishna everywhere. And that is what we need to learn in devotional service. That is really what our goal should be. We will go to Bhagavad Gita, and Bhagavad Gita teaches Krishna is in your heart. He controls your heartbeat, your digestion. He controls what you think, what you forget. But we are foolish. Bhagavate Kriyamani Gunakaramna Savsankara Vimudatma Kartam Itimanyate 1327 Bhagavad 327 Bhagavad Gita. We think ourselves the only doers, but everything is done by Krishna. So to come to that point of always thinking of Krishna, we must give up our independent plan making. That even in devotional service we make plans, and that's good to make plans, but you should make plans always thinking, if Krishna willing, then this will happen. Because Krishna as your plan, as his plan, may be different from your plan. So always think if Krishna willing. That is very important. I learned this from Bhujam Prabhu. He always speaks like that. He says he will never say we will do this tomorrow. He say if Krishna willing, we will do that. So we must always think like that. Therefore, before we present something or we do some job, always Omachyana to Gandasya Nansana Shlakya sexual Mitamina Tasnis Gurvena. Because the spiritual master has opened our eyes and with the thoughts of knowledge. That but it's factually by the mercy of the spiritual master, Krishna gives us the intelligence, these thoughts of knowledge. And without Krishna, we cannot do anything. That if we forget Krishna and we think to speak very nice words, Krishna may make sure we speak nonsense to learn as a lesson. So Krishna is always there. It's in your heart. So why not consult with him? Try to consult with him, whatever you do. That's the beginning. That's recognizing. Recognizing God is a person, is in my heart. Someone was was a materialistic person, but he was doing a puja. He was worshipping Krishna and Durga. He was worshipping Krishna and was doing puja to fulfill his material desires, but he didn't get from Krishna what he wanted. So he was worshipping Durga. So he was doing puja with the incense, but the smoke of the incense went to Krishna, not to Durga. And he took some cotton and put it in the nose of the deity, so that Krishna could not smell it. And he was doing puja for Durga. But then in the night he got a dream, and Krishna appeared in his dream and said, "It's very nice that you consider me as a person." Because he was a person, because he put God. So the same is for us. We consider Krishna as a person. We are not controlling this body. But we are one of the 5 factors of action. In Bhagavad Gita 18:14. But the Udamadika is only Krishna everywhere. Is in Vaikuntha, even in this material world. He sees only the spirit souls, not the coverings. That's the Uttam Adhikar. And the Madhyam Adhikar, first Uttam, then see the Madhyam is not there. I think it's further. Yeah, the Madhyam is missing. The Madhyamadikar is 11:245. Ishvara tata dineshu palisheshu trivatsusa prema maitra kipur peksa yat karo samatsyama. An intermediate or second-class devotee called Madhyamadikar offers his love for the Supreme Personality of Godhead. That and is a sincere friend of the devotees and shows mercy to the ignorant people, the innocent, and disregard those who are envious of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So he has 4 kinds of relationships. What are these 4 kinds of relationships?
Which word was referring in Bhagavad Gita 11?
No, this is Srimad Bhagavatam. That's this verse is 11 to 46. So he sees the Supreme Lord, he sees the devotees, the innocent, and the demoniac or the envious, those who are envious of Krishna. And he has different relationships with them. For Krishna, he gives his love, that and for the devotees, he makes friendship. And for the innocent, he preaches to them. And the atheists, he avoids them. Well, the asuras, the demonic. So that's a preacher of Krishna consciousness. He goes out and he tries to distribute a book. And someone who is antagonistic or envious towards Krishna, it's not difficult. You try to distribute a book, you will soon know. If they are not interested, go to the next one. But he wants to give them a book to those who are innocent, who are not averse to Krishna, but, who are inclined to religion sincerely, that who are open-minded. So these are 4 kinds of relationships. But like I said, there's a difference between acting on that platform and being on that platform. It's a very big difference. But you can act on that platform if you are a little advanced already.
Margie, is this connected to all the like Kanishta, Madhyam, and Uttama?
Yeah.
It's the same everywhere. You can act on the platform and maybe you're not already there. Is there everywhere?
Yeah, sure. So we will soon come to that. You can act as an Uttam, but not be an Uttam. But is cheating. We will come to that. Okay, but then we have the Kanishta. Shihavya Vatsa Sarvate Siapasit Bhagavan Bhavamatmana Bhutani Bhagavanatmi Esa Bhagavatotam. Shihavya said, the most advanced devotees know that's Uttam. There's the next one, the Kanishta. Acharya me baharaye pucham yasadayate nadat bhaktis sanyasu sabhakta prakrita smita. A devotee who faithfully engages in the worship of the deity in the temple does not behave properly toward other devotees or people is generally called a Prakriti Bhakta, a materialistic devotee, and is considered in the lowest position. So here the Kanishta, he has no knowledge, no faith, but he accepts the deity as a Supreme Lord, and he does puja for the deity. But it cannot discriminate between who is a devotee and who is not a devotee. It cannot discriminate who is an advanced devotee, who is not advanced. And by that he makes offenses. And that is a beginner like we see many times, beginning devotees, they think they mastered everything already, or they know something. But in the beginning, we are really fools in devotions. We don't know anything. But they think, yeah, I know something. That and they cannot understand who is advanced because they don't have knowledge about the qualities of an advanced devotee. That these qualities are described in Bhagavad Gita. It starts with the first instruction of Krishna. Matras, Vaksasya Kantasna, Sita Shoshikadaguda, Agamapin, and Najastam Siddhiksva Bharata. One must tolerate happiness and distress. Because that, if one can tolerate, Yamina Vyadantante, Purusham Purushaksha, Agamapin, Sam Dukasakam, Diram, Sami Tatva Kalpate. One who can tolerate happiness and distress and becomes equal to it, he is ready for liberation. That's a liberated person. One who can tolerate. Or in the 12th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, in the 2nd chapter already, Arjuna is asking, because Krishna has spoken about someone who is equal in happiness and distress and who works without being attached to the results and so on. And Arjuna is asking, such a stita prajna, a firmly situated transcendentalist, what are his qualities? How does he work? How does he walk? What does he do? And Krishna starts to explain, Prajati Atakaman Sarva Mahtaktamatogatam. He says, yes, an advanced devotee is free of material desires. So I have a problem here. I have a disease at my feet. And that's better like that. Yeah. So he says, yes. When we advance in devotional service, has given up all material desires. And because material desires arise from mental concoction, invention of the mind. And yes, he gives so many further qualities there. And also in the 12th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, gives at the end from verse 13 till 20, chapter 12, he gives one after another qualities that make us very dear to him. Advesta Sarva Bhutanam, Maitra Karuna Ivasha, that at best one who is non-envious to all living beings, who is merciful to all living beings, and so on, who is equal in happiness and distress, in honor, dishonor, and so many qualities are given there. Whole list. And then in the 13th chapter, from verse 8 to 12, Krishna gives 20 items of knowledge. And one who is advanced has this knowledge, these 20 items. And then in the 14th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, Arjuna is asking, what are the qualities of one who has transcended the modes of nature? And in 4-5 verses, Krishna gives all these qualities there. So a devotee who is advanced has realized these qualities. These are the realizations. And the Kanishta has no idea about that. That what is advanced, that what are these qualities. That, and therefore he does not know who is advanced and not advanced. And then you cannot properly relate with devotees. That ruins the relationship between devotees. So that is something to be very careful, because that's the first offense against the holy name. To blaspheme the devotees who dedicate their lives for preaching the holy name of the Lord. So that is the mad elephant offense. And the beginner many times commits the mad elephant offense, sadhuninda. And the beginner is especially because he thinks, with my sharp intelligence, I shall know everything. And he doesn't know what is important in spiritual life and what are secondary things and what are details. And he gets taken away by these things which are not really important, primary in spiritual life. And they ask then questions like, how did we fall from the spiritual world? But if you read Srila Prabhupada's books, you know that you should not ask these questions. You don't have knowledge. And you should know why I should not ask these questions. Or you like to go in all controversial issues, the women issue in ISKCON and the female guru, or you want to go in the Ritvik, or you want to go in, did they go to the moon? Yeah, but we should first learn, I'm not his body, I'm in problems. Krishna is God, and by his mercy, I can get out of it. I'm in trouble. And whether they went to the moon or not, whether are Ritviks or not, you are still not his body, you are a spirit soul, and you have to realize that. So that's the neophyte, comes up with all these things, controversial issues, and they fight with other devotees about it without understanding their position, that then you become like Daksha. Daksha in the 4th canto of the Bhagavad Gita. Daksha got the head of a goat because he offended Lord Shiva, because he saw him on the material platform like a Kanishta. He could not understand Lord Shiva's spiritual position, which is higher even than Brahman. He could not understand. He was thinking, it's my son-in-law. And he did not stand up to greet me. And he made offenses. And he got the head of the goat. So this is the Kanishta. And we are all in some sense Kanishtas. And we must come out of it. And one way to come out of it is this Bhakti Sastri course. Bhakti Sastri is not, I'm not here to give you knowledge. I'm not speaking so much what is in the books and so on, that I try to give you transfer also my realizations and churn in your heart that you wake up, that it becomes a transformational course, not just getting a diploma or a certificate. That's not really, yeah. You see, and that's interesting. Materialist is attached to matter and attached from Krishna. He forgets Krishna. No God need. We don't need God. He's attached to matter. A Mayavadi is attached from matter, but also attached from Krishna. And then we have the Sahaja. He's attached to matter and attached to Krishna. Yeah, but the problem is, if you want to be attached to Krishna, if your attachment to Krishna, your attachment for sense enjoyment is down. And when your attachment for matter is high, your sense gratification, your attachment to Krishna is down. The sadhus, they want this. They want attached to both at the same time. That's called sahaja. If you want a definition, that is sahaja. And then devotees. Devotees are attached for matter and attached to Krishna. In fact, they become attached to Krishna, and as a secondary effect, they become detached from matter. It's a secondary effect. That's very clearly that this is in the Bhagavatam. There's a verse that Prabhupada always quotes when he speaks about that. 1, 2. One, 2, 6, I think. 7. Vasudeva Bhakti Yoga Payochita Yam Yat Sasivarachyam Kyanyasat Sayat Ahaitakam. By rendering devotional service unto the personality of Godhead, one immediately acquires causeless mercy, causeless knowledge, and detachment from the world. Krishna gives you knowledge from within the heart, and that causes detachment. So it's by devotional service, by coming attached to Krishna, that you become detached from matter. Don't try it in the other way. Trying to become detached from matter, to become attached to Krishna. No, it's a side effect. That when we become really attached to Krishna, then by that attachment it purifies our heart. So the pure devotee is attached for matter and attached to Krishna. The Prakriti Bhakta is attached, Bhakta is attached to Maya and to Krishna at the same time. And the Madhyan levels realize that God's presence is not limited to the deity, but extends beyond the deity, where the Kanishta sees only the deity as God, but the Madhyam start to see God in everyone's heart. He feels Krishna's presence. Then Madhyamadikar, we discussed this first. Yeah, it was later here. Stage of spiritual development. So the development from Kanishta to Madhyam is building up towards how we can see Krishna everywhere. First, we see the spiritual reality in the temple and the deity. Second, we see the Lord and see the relationship with everyone. See the Lord and see the relationship with everyone. The Lord has a relationship with everyone. Even with the materialist, he has a relationship because he makes their body working, fulfills their desires, gives them reactions. The Lord is always there, every moment. And then third is when it comes to the Uttam, see the Lord everywhere, and that everyone is actually a devotee of Krishna. Good. No, bodily oneness is false. We are all different bodies. So, but on the spiritual platform, we are one. We are all spirit souls that all sit Satchitananda, but the body is different. But one can see the unity in all living entities by seeing the spirit soul in the body. The spirit soul in a cat, a dog, that in a Brahman, in an elephant, in every living entity. Seeing the soul, not the body. I've been working for 5 years. I was head of administration at a geriatric department of a big hospital in Flanders. And there were 180 old people on that department. You can say an old folks home. Most were 80 years old, 90 years old. I did the administration, so every week 2 of them would die. I was making the last invoice, body bag, everything there. Then at one time, I saw one of the residents dying, and his daughter was there. And the time of death comes, and you look into the eyes of that person, and then when the last breath comes, I could see the light in his eyes went out, was breaking. You can factually see this, the soul in the eyes. It breaks, and his last breath came. And his daughter was crying, "My father is gone, my father is gone." But what is gone? The body is still there. Same thing. All the matter is still there. What is gone? Then she recognized, somewhat conscious or unconscious, my father is not a body, he has gone. Nice to do that at that moment, but better to do that during our lives. Recognize that the spirit soul is in the body, and that everyone, and the body is just, we get through the misuse of our activities in past life. And some have misused it a little more than others, and they get animal bodies and so on. And so spiritually, everyone is equal. Materially, everyone is different. Yes. And then in the last verses, Prabhupada speaks of anupashati, the word of that meaning. That's good to know these terms for your exam. We have already a few terms, yeah? Aparuseyam, remember? That you remember Isavasya, you remember here Anupashati. See according to the Shastra. The Shastra is one message, and a liberated person is truly beneficial. These are the 3 points. We will look now deeper in that. Anupashati. Yeah. Interesting when don't remember what it means, but may come back. The light's ray in space, when it comes to a black hole, the light is diverted in another direction. That seeing is believing is a permanent progress stopper, intellectually and behaviorally. What does it mean? The materialist says, I believe only what I see, what I can perceive. But then you can't make spiritual advancement. You must accept Shastra. That you need to accept Shastra, because Shastra is beyond our sense perception. We cannot take things from which are beyond our sense perception. We cannot use our logical faculty for that. Not possible. Shastra is one message, is for Madhvacharya. Vadika Vakyate. Scripture is omniform. We will explain that. Multi-level messages seems contradictory to the uninformed, but is seen as complementary by the well-informed. That so multi-level messages. We get a little further some examples of that. You will see examples, I think it's in the 7th or the 8th mantra. You get these examples that, we will come back to that. We will now get the post till 12:35. Okay. And then continue with mantra. This was which mantra? 6. We continue with 7.